Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an angle to the race we might look back on later as having been a path to finding the winner. Well, Sunday at Sha Tin is Ladies' Day. The Sa Ladies Purse, a Group 3, is our feature race of the day, and it's the high fashion day of the year in Hong Kong racing. I'm sure there'll be plenty of interviews and information all around the Hong Kong Jockey Club website to help you find the winner of that race. I'm going to have a look at a couple of the support races, and the first one is race 6, where our winning factor is the trainer. Now, this is a 1600 metre class 4, and I'm sure there'll be chances given to the likes of Wide Blue Yonder dropping back to class 4, Free Foal from an Ideal Draw, Zach Purton's mount Let's Do It, Ode to Joy from the Douglas White camp, and the last start winner Accelerando. And it's Accelerando that I want to look most closely at, and we're going to have a look at his third start in a race, his first for this season, in race 112. Now, he's in gate 6 with red and white colours, and didn't have much early pace here, which has been the case whenever we've seen him in trials or races. But Alexi Bedell gets over to the rail, gets him past midfield early, and then the steady tempo through the race allows him to make a little bit of ground up the fence before the sprint goes on. And what I liked here was that he wasn't left flat-footed when the pace did pick up. He isn't the fastest to sprint, however. Pakistan Friend actually goes from behind him to past him there in the green and white colours. But Accelerando is able to sustain his sprint for longer and runs right through the line to win going away. Now, that was a win that suggested certainly we're going to see the very best of Accelerando when he gets out over longer distances, but John Size is one trainer who doesn't hurry to put horses up in distance, and the fact that he's keeping him at 1600 metres is certainly worth respecting. We're coming into that time of year for John Size, and I'm going to show you a few little statistics to do with Size. And firstly, his career in Hong Kong month by month. Now, this is the period of each season where the 11-time champion trainer is most deadly. This graph shows his average wins for each month of the season throughout his 20 years in Hong Kong, and September and July are notoriously not great. But when we get to November through to March, this is where his yard really flies. You can see that 5-month period is where he peaks. And one area where John Size is always at a peak is his performance as one of our best trainers with last start winners. Here you can see he has one of the highest strike rates with last start winners, but what we see in these figures is that the best time to back those last start winners is when they stay in class 4. Those who go up to class 3 certainly win a lot of races, but they are very often horses who have gathered a reputation as rising stars and can therefore be overbet. With the horses that haven't had a chance to get a boom on them, there's still a punting edge for us. If there is a factor working against Accelerando here, it is the speed of the race. Now, I mentioned with that replay that the pace was quite even. Well, I don't think we're going to get such an even speed in Sunday's race. When we look at the map, there are horses who might like to lead in a slow pace, like Free Foal, even President's Choice and Let's Do It, but nothing that will be keen to run them along, and certainly I don't see any competition for the front. Now, while Accelerando's good draw should allow him to maybe sit a little bit closer early without much speed on, there is the risk of him being out-sprinted or finding some interference in the home straight. But for me, it's still hard to go past him as the selection. So in race 6, the tip is Accelerando. His winning factor, the trainer. He's lightly raced, he's only had the 3 starts so far and improved a lot in his first run this season, and that's the kind of horse John Size excels with, and as we can see on those tables earlier, this is his time of year. This is the kind of horse from the Size yard where we can still get a price and have a decent bet. The other race I want to take a look at on Sunday is race 10, and our winning factor here is the map. Now this is quite a smart looking Class 2 to end the program, with plenty of significance I think for the Classic Mile early next year, as there will be a lot of attention on a number of 4-year-olds here. Keefe for Frankie Law, the newcomer Beauty Verse, a Derby winner earlier this year in Australia. Galaxy Witness ran a well last start despite getting back to his old habit of a slow jump. And the 5-year-olds Sight Spirit and Captain Win will definitely have their share of fans here too. And the horse I want to put most focus on is Keefe. And he raced well at his first start for the season. We're going to see that in just a moment. And he can really put himself up there as one of the leading contenders for the Classic Mile if he's able to win this race on Sunday. Now his first run for the season came in race 83. He has gate 14 on this replay and white colours, and as you can see he's one of the best horses to begin in the race and has some early work to do then to push forward to sit outside the leader. And you see on the heat map there was a little bit of effort involved in that. It was quite a sharp speed in the first half of the race. The eventual winner lands behind him with a red cap. And while the pace wasn't crazy, there was some work to do. So Keefe working to get to where he settled, and I thought he tried hard in the straight. That early effort told in the final stages, and he goes down by only a half length on the line. An excellent first up run, and he should be at his top with that run under the belt. The other replay I thought I could show you here that might be informative is the new horse, Beauty Verse. He raced as Jungle Magnate in Australia, and he's been purchased by the Kwok family, famous owners of Beauty Generation amongst many other horses, and no doubt with the Hong Kong Derby in mind. And he's had 3 barrier trials. I'm going to show you the most recent of them. This is on October 25. And you'll see Beauty Verse here in those Kwok family colours, mainly pink and black. And from gate 8, Zach Purton is in no hurry with him early, letting him drift back, find his feet out the rear of the field. And then mid-trial, he brings him a bit wider to start to work into it on the home turn. In the straight, he shakes him up. He runs on nicely without full pressure. And the final sectionals here were actually quite sharp in the trial, so it was a good effort to make up the ground. A nice trial from Beauty Verse, and he might be ready to run a race first up. But, however, I do think we're going to see very much the best of him later on over longer distances, and he's not going to get any favours on Sunday from the map. When we take a look at that, there is no designated leader in the race, and most of the horses like to get back and run on. So the map is going to be critical here to the outcome. I won't be at all surprised to see Captain Win much more prominent after finally getting a good barrier draw. Keefe, as we saw in the earlier replay, that was over 1,400 metres, and he has the speed to be one of the leaders here and won't have to work to get there from gate 3. While we have seen Sight Spirit in the past go forward, and despite his wide gate, he's also a possible leader. But I don't see a real contest for the front emerging from anywhere, and that means a soft pace and a sprint home. Galaxy Witness, he's been a bit untidy again at the start in his last 2 runs this season, like he was in his early days in Hong Kong, so he could be giving away a start. And Beauty Verse, well, I think he's very likely all the way back in the race and giving an even bigger start. So the tip for me in race 10 is Keefe. His winning factor, the map. Now he steps up to a mile for the first time in Hong Kong, Keefe, but he was a winner at that distance in Australia before he was sold to Hong Kong. He even was beaten narrowly at 1,800 metres, so I don't think the distance is a problem. He has the tactical speed to be forward in a race where that looks crucial, and 2 of his major rivals, I think, are going to be disadvantaged by the shape of the race. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next time.